I don't say anything stupid.
Oh, that's impossible. We're going to do it. All three of us. Okay. We are live.
Now remember.
I remembered.
It's been a little bit since we recorded, so I want to make sure you knew not to say we were live too quickly.
Yeah.
Because then the beginning gets cut off for anyone who's watching us live.
Is that what happens?
That's what happens.
Yeah. What? I didn't know that. You must keep reminding us, Andy.
Good.
Very
I'm
important.
glad I've got a function.
Yeah.
This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. I'm Andy.
I'm Anise.
and I'm Gerald.
I was adjusting my screens to see everything. I couldn't see with the script and the screen. Yeah. What happens? You don't record in a few weeks. You don't have your.
You need a
setup.
script to say I'm Anise.
No, but I have stuff later, like the outro and the questions. I have things later, so
But the outro comes at the end. Did you not?
You got time for that?
Yeah.
All right.
We got to do some talking before then.
Just an FYI to everyone, I have a cat going out of her mind over here with a new toy. That's an old toy that she just found again for the first time.
Hurrah!
So just so everyone knows.
It's the best toy ever.
What did we read this week? We read Nondisclosure Agreement by Sayrafiezadeh. And I'm going to summarize this story.
Go for it.
Which I've struggled with.
The summary or the story?
The summary.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, all right, here's the summary. Cold open, there's a sexual harassment lawsuit. But then cut back to hiring, where this guy leaves grad school to work with an Amazon fulfillment warehouse, which sucks, and then leaves that to work at this small publishing firm making a catalog, a paper catalog, which is dumb but pays good. And then the owner's weird and everyone's nice, but the owner's weird, and then catches him reading poetry or maybe masturbating.
Wow.
Could be. I don't know.
I don't know if my head didn't go there, but now I can see it.
No, there's an image.
I can't unsee it.
I'm never going to read poetry ever again.
Up behind his desk, red-faced, reading poetry. Like,
yeah. Okay.
Staring at the nice young man he newly hired.
Yeah.
He could have been masturbating.
Yeah.
Good point.
Could be.
Okay.
And all the ladies in the office warned him not to work too late, which didn't seem like it was a warning about work, but a warning about being alone with the owner. But then they talk about poetry and all the stuff that all the sort of literary fulfillment grad school didn't give him, and all of the student debt grad school did give him. And then they're going to publish him, but also sexual harassment, and turns into a toxic work environment. But we don't really see any of the toxic work environment. We get that in flash forward, backwards looking things. I don't know. And then the story ends. But we only see all of the best parts of the thing. But then it turns sour, and you can see how it turns sour from all of these little included sour hints. I don't know. I don't know how to summarize it, but I really like this story.
That's a good spot about the masturbating, actually. I did not see
it's the
that.
first thing I think of, believe me.
Is it?
I can spot a hidden masturbation reference.
I don't want to ask how.
But yeah, just looking at it now, you think, now I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Gerald, what did you think of the story overall?
Oh,
I don't like that face.
no, I don't like that face either, and I've got to live with it. I don't like stories that tell you the ending at the beginning and then build up to the ending that you already know. So that wasn't a good start for me. And I suppose I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it more when before I caught the masturbation reference. Lots of good things there. I liked, and I read the interview with the author, and so there's lots of the detailing the difference between academic writing and commercial writing, and I think that's quite good. Quite a good sort of illustration, but it's kind of sad. It's I don't know. I don't know. I just sort of felt it sort of finished at the ending that you've already seen, and it was just really sort of sad and downbeat. So I really don't know. I've been trying to think of something intelligent to say about it, and I can't. So there you go.
The best I've come up with in terms of thinking of something intelligent to say is I know this story was kind of a downer, right? Steeped in despair, right? And I've knocked several of our more recent stories for just being like downers, and I hate them. So why do I like this one?
I think it's simple.
Flavor of despair. Like the other ones were like pre 2010 despair, and this is like post.
No. Well, maybe
Right.
in the sense that I think the reason why it's
like new economy despair.
Yeah, like the subject matter is something over which we should be feeling despair, but we're not, because the story is chock full of jokes. It's just joke after joke after joke after joke. So there's kind of like a gallows humor thing. So maybe that's what you mean, like a post 2010 or post 2016 thing where like we're all laughing at our inevitable deaths.
Right. Yeah, it's self-aware despair.
Mm-hmm.
Chock-a-block with jokes. Yeah, that sounds like what I like.
Mm-hmm. And it starts with that self-awareness, right? Because it's like, I've got defective wiring. My brain ain't good. Whoop.
Yeah. And also, it's like, right, sentence one, like, hey, this story doesn't have a happy ending. And I'll tell you some jokes.
So
where were the jokes? I miss the joke.
Really? Okay. When he's filling in the Amazon warehouse orders and there's a lot of books coming down the conveyor belt and he wants to see like what people are reading, but it's mostly books written by James Patterson. That's a joke. I had taken down some more. There's just so many. There was another one which was everything about his creative writing cohort and how they write these emails to each other and they're like, couldn't have done it without you, and they're all just bragging all the time. Like that was incredible. Really
the auto reply from his professor.
The auto reply, another great joke. Also, when he tries to like have like an intelligent conversation with his coworker at the fulfillment center, the irony was not lost on him being the narrator, and he tells his coworker, and his coworker goes, "It's another word for warehouse." Love it. It's like, ever been there where you're like trying to make a point and someone like takes you very literally?
It's. I think it's a definition of joke which doesn't translate across the Atlantic. I recognize the amusing bon mot, perhaps, but I wouldn't call them jokes. But anyway, there are some amusing bits to it. And all that, James Patterson, yes,
the whole thing's amusing. All the stupid, all the thing with like the soup, where it's like, my favorite soup. How'd you know? I did it. You told me. I think you knew. Like all of that. It's just
what is going on here?
Which like that part is even better because like it's like a funny, humorous chuckle fest moment of like this person grooming you and trying to like pretend you have a more intimate relationship than you actually do. Like, we see what he's doing, but it's still like, like, he's like a clownish predator, but still a predator.
Right. Right, which is why I like I don't know if I want to call it a frame narrative, right? The tell you the ending first, because it doesn't even frame anything. It's scarcely a narrative. That's like the best framework I've got for what it is. Because like, oh, by the way, like actual legal repercussions, and it's real hard for everybody. I'm only going to tell you about it through Chucklefest.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you about the lawsuit about the time I was sexually harassed.
Wow. I don't know what's wrong. There's obviously something wrong with me. Perhaps I'm too British or something, because it's got. Yeah. I think I smiled a couple of times, but that's Chucklefest.
I don't know how
His
much
bottom lip
student debt do you
smiled.
still
We
have,
maintained
Harold?
the stiff upper lip.
How much what do I have?
Student debt do you still have?
I don't have any student debt.
See, when I'm your age, I'm going to have a lot.
Okay. And
Well, that's
Hilarious.
it's a generational difference.
okay, yeah, probably. Yeah. We didn't have to pay for university.
Yeah, right. That's
Maybe
In
it's not
fact,
even
we were
generational. Maybe it's a different country where
also true.
could be that maybe just over
Well,
there in general.
Well, I think at the time that our universities were it sounds a bit arrogant, but sort of special places where you had to, be of a certain sort of thing to go to. But then we got all nuts about them, and every college became a university, and everybody was going to university, and obviously they can't fund all that. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Let's
Okay.
not talk about that.
We can.
So-
That's probably not very interesting.
Gerald, you read the interview with the author, so you
Yeah.
weren't
Yes.
convinced by in that conversation, because the framing thing, they dig at the thing that's smart that I really liked about telling you the ending first and then working backwards is it made a lot of scenes have a lot of tension, because you're like, is this when it happens? Is this when it happens? Is this when it happens? Because you're waiting for that shoe to drop, because you know the shoe's gonna drop, but instead you just see this like grooming that's happening over time, which I thought added nice tension beneath Chucklefest, as we're calling it. Yeah.
Was there
Like when they're editing, when they're up all night editing the thesis, you're like, this is when it happens, right? This is when it happens, right? We're zooming in on his hands. One of his hands is going to move, right? Because we know it's going to move to his thigh. But that's only because we had seen that ending first.
I don't know. I think there's something wrong in my wiring, because I can't. I didn't. I don't know. Yes, okay. If you're gonna do the sort of framing thing and put the ending first, then okay. But it's not. The guy was taking advantage of him, and stringing him along and saying he was going to publish his whole work and just needs a bit more editing, and I just had an uneasy feeling about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit miserable or grumpy or something.
You're
But-
supposed to have an uneasy feeling about it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. So I can't laugh at that. It's not a chuckle fest in Gerald's book. Sorry. Anyway,
Okay.
don't let me be a Debbie Downer on it. You chuckle away.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's dig a little bit more into this main character, because there's like a lot of stuff going on with this guy, and I have a lot of thoughts about him. So Andy, if this person was like in the room right now and you had to describe him to someone, like, who is this person, the narrator?
Man, I don't know any of my friends. Like, right? This is a too clever guy who washed out of academia, because that's a pit. That's a trap. And then ended up working a bunch of grunt jobs, trying to make ends meet. But like, has too clever witticisms all the time that aren't appreciated by anyone. Yeah, real cool guy. I want to be his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a looker too. We don't know for sure, but
I think so. Well, one of the things that sort of left out to me about him too is his like need to romanticize the struggle, but like not actually struggle too much. Like he takes this job because it makes his life a lot better. That is a pragmatic and good decision, but he's got to kind of like romanticize it a little bit. In the way that he was trying to romanticize the Amazon fulfillment center, right?
Mhm.
By writing that piece about it. The problem is that one actually really sucked because he wasn't getting paid enough to live. So he can't, he like the actual like super like destitution struggle. No. He can write about that one, but he's got to go to like, he goes to mail order, which is another type of defective wiring here. Mail order of all things, but it's also a pragmatic kind of choice. He doesn't have a lot of options, and it's going to pay him well. And he gets to he's still sort of like the 4 women are actual professionals with degrees, and like he's like has all these things going on in his head where it's like he's trying to make it a loftier thing. Like this is like the beginning of like a real career, but on the ground floor. I got to like work my way up or whatever. Like, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, yes, his need to romanticize his own life, which, by the way, the boss predator also needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really interesting, like that side of it. The, like,
And also, I mean,
literary heart.
he's under no illusions, is he? Isn't it easy? He knows that the boss guy is from a rich family and is basically just sort of wasting his time doing this, making these
Right, some
catalogs and
weird
stuff.
vanity project for the rich guy that he can tag along with.
So he understands that, and he's quite happy to get paid, lots of money to go and do that thing. So he's pragmatic, but he's also slightly taking advantage of the rich guy as well, the boss guy. No.
I guess I don't know if it's taking advantage. Because like at no point, like the boss guy's the one who like from day one after one interview was like, "We'll double your pay." Like, all right. I think I don't know if taking advantage is the right word. I think I know what you're grasping at, Gerald, which is the narrator isn't looking for a job where he necessarily is doing good work and contributing to some greater enterprise. Like he doesn't, but I don't think that necessarily means he's taking advantage of the situation. I think the advantage is like sort of like it's just this rich guy is just kind of crazy. Like he's just a little mildly crazy. And you're okay with him being crazy, I guess. Not you, the narrator.
Oh yeah. That's right. And he's able to buy a new car and rent a better apartment and all that. And the guy might one day publish his stuff so he can send one of those emails to his college buddies. So there's that. I mean, it makes me wonder whether I don't know whether by putting that sort of predatory thing up first, whether it's also a suggestion that he knew what was happening all along. Maybe. I mean, he's not stupid, this guy.
I don't know. I think that comes back to the defective wiring. I think
it's one of those shoulda knowns, right? Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he wants the better pay. He wants to afford his life. So he's like, the guy's just eccentric. He's just a weirdo. And you just kind of like make these excuses because things are working out for you until they don't.
Yep.
But wouldn't you also, by the time that the guy sort of offers to publish his work and do all this, wouldn't you then connect with the women saying don't stay too late? Wouldn't you then think, oh, hang on. There would be little warning flags going off.
Yeah, but that's also his deepest heart's desire.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's taking his writing seriously.
Mm-hmm. And like, don't forget the amount of grooming that went into it at that point. They've talked poetry, and also like this guy, like the Predator's really good, right? Like the whole thing with the like old edition of the book where like the narrator isn't sure if like, is this a gift or is he just showing me a cool thing he bought? Is it a loan? Like everything's a little fuzzy. Like because if it's a gift, now it feels like a lot. But if you're not sure, maybe we're just really into this stuff together and we just have a common hobby.
Yeah, maybe.
Grooming 101.
You sounded very New England then, by the way. You went, common hobby.
This is how you get me too'd. That's what my note is for that point.
Yeah.
Oh, the other little joke was when he's like, so what did you like about his writing? I like the sentences. And then there's like a little bit of like internalization of the narrator being like, oh, I'm such a fucking idiot. But of course the guy who's grooming him goes, wow, I've never heard it so succinctly put. Like something like that. Like, well put. Amazing. Also, I like how the boss's parents were like no to publishing a literary magazine, but okay to mail order.
Yeah.
There's like a hidden joke in there too.
Wow. Hidden too well for me, obviously.
I'm not going to finance your literary magazine, but I will finance your mail order catalog. Okay, so in the pecking order of things they expect to fail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What was that?
So, but I was looking through my notes, see if there's anything else. I will say that one of the things that might make this a little bit alienating is not the right word, but like make certain readers go shrug. Because the very first time I read it through, I was a little, I liked it, but I was a little until I read it a second time. Because it's very much feels like an inside baseball lark. Like, it feels like you're going to get most of this if you're aware of this world of like academia, literary stuff, magazines getting published, people bragging on like group circle things. Couldn't have done it without you. Like all that kind of stuff. Like you need to be either have lived it or be aware of it. Like to really fully like have the Chuckle Fest land, I guess. Otherwise, it might just feel a bit like I don't know, like you might want to like judge the elites, I guess. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Like depending on who you are, it may not land a particular way. It's going to land very well in the New Yorker, put it that way. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's not really like a defect of it. It's totally fine to write for the people who read the New Yorker. Like that's a totally fine thing to do. But it's just like, you have to be someone who really already enjoys the journey, because as Andy had said, it's not really a narrative. Like it's there, but that's not the point. The point is just enjoying these characters who feel really alive, finding something authentic and laughing a bit.
I guess.
I like
There's
when
no
Gerald
strong
gets
plot.
overwhelmingly convinced.
Yeah.
I just wish I feel I miss out. I wish I had the mind. Wish my wiring was such that I could enjoy the Chuckle Fest. And it's like being the sober one at a party, isn't it? Everyone else is laughing and having a good time, and I'm just going, yeah, whatever.
You could go back to school, take out loans to pay for it, and then work a completely unrelated dead-end job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would that be funny?
It might make the story funnier.
It would make the story.
Yeah, it might be.
It would give you the appropriate steeping in the despair.
Yes. Oh, jeez. Yeah. I guess.
There was also that section about when he was in school and they're not really teaching you how to make a living based off of writing. And it's like that the act of reading and writing to be its own legitimate form of labor. That also made me a little bit sad because like it is and it should be, but our current society doesn't really put a premium on that in a way where like you could actually make any real money from that labor unless you're like, it's like hitting jackpot. Like you have to like be one of the few who just actually, you know, catches fire. For most people, no. So it is a legitimate form of labor, but not a very lucrative one.
Yeah, and I think I think that the story did a good job in that respect. In that it did make that very clear, and it's a salutary lesson for would-be authors that whatever you leave college with, and whatever sort of great expectations or hopes, there's a reality check coming down the road that is going to smack you.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a philosopher, like professionally.
Oh,
yeah,
a professional philosopher. Do they exist, or do they just teach? Teach philosophy.
Yeah,
it's like a self-perpetuating thing,
right?
With a limited number of seats.
with a limited number of seats.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And a bunch of old grizzled men hanging on.
And you wanted to be one of those old grizzled men.
Yeah, obviously. I thought I was on the right track for that. That's perfect. Could you
I bet you had
imagine
some-
if I just sat in a room thinking like that was my
Wow.
job, and then I'd come
Wow.
out like 3 times a day and like lecture people?
Amazing.
Wow.
That sounds right. That sounds right up your alley. Yeah.
And
That's a job.
you could have a beard as long as you want.
Well, you're already doing that.
Yeah, but like it's encouraged.
Yeah.
Wear a beret or
be-
something.
You could be as grumpy as you wanted. You could be as
That's also
socially inept as you wanted. You just be your own person.
Yeah.
Hey.
But right, but
reality
then it's like,
checking.
nobody thinks sitting around and thinking is a marketable skill. I'm like, oh, in school we thought that was great.
It's marketable in the other direction. You can pay a lot of money to sit in a room thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You found that one out.
What I
Yeah.
needed was a rich family
Yeah.
to
Or
back
a-
my weird vanity project.
Or a patron or something. If I get rich, Andy, I will pay you to
Someone
sit
sit
in a room
on
sit in a
Patreon.
room and think. Yeah. That'll be awesome. And then once a year, come and tell me what you've thought.
Yeah.
Thought some stuff.
Okay. Do we have anything else we want to say about this story? I've gotten through my notes.
I wish I did. I wish I was a bit more positive about it, but it just didn't strike and miss for me.
Yeah. I also wish I did. I wish I could be more eloquent about it. I just really liked it. I liked it.
If you
I like
sat in
that
a room and thought more, you'd be able to be more eloquent.
Mhm.
Yep.
You see,
Well,
so it's
then you
You've
could
seen
come
that
out
too.
and lecture us on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Wouldn't that be
Not
amazing?
paying you for it though.
Right.
yeah, that's okay. But he's got a rich patron, so he doesn't need to be paid. It's all
Who's the
his
rich
needs.
patron?
Yeah. Who's my rich
It's
patron?
me. It's
Oh,
me when
Oh,
I'm
right.
rich.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Oh yes. So anyway, but don't hold your breath.
Rich in spirit.
Rich. Yeah. Can't pay bills with spirit.
All right. So, what are we rating it? Who wants to go first? Looks like not Gerald.
I was
Yeah.
going to give it a 4 coming in, but I think I'm going to give it a 6 instead.
What?
What
Yeah.
a leap!
What?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
No.
6.
How could you go from 4 to 6?
Increasing.
Oh, is that how you did it? Jeez. I'm gonna give it a non-committal, boring 3. It was okay.
All right. I was also coming in going to give it a 4. I don't know why though. I liked it more than a 4. That's just in my head. But I think I'm going to give it a 5. I've also increased. There's something infectious about having other people do Chuckle Fest with you, where you're
Yeah,
just like,
that's what did it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that was good. I've been reinforced.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I feel like this is good, but I worry people will think it's not good because it doesn't really have a plot. No, it's great. I loved it. Yeah.
And sober guy at the party here says, "Nah,
Yeah.
very good. Can I go home now?"
Okay, so 5 from me. And next week, we are reading Harlow by Sheila Armstrong. But before you go, visit our Facebook discussion group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers, and sign up to our literary conversations by mail order. Get the podcast shipped right to your door. Our dreams of a literary magazine were also dashed by reality and facts on the ground. Contribute to help us cover our podcast expenses at patreon.com/literary roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this podcast with the 4 women subtly warning you about that the boss is no good. Until next time, read a good story.